the words you want to say when you're about. No, don't record.
I just want to make sure we're in 2021. Caucasian is not a good word to say.
I'm not speaking for half of the people in here, but I'm just saying, just don't say that.
Don't say Caucasian.
No.
Got it.
Don't.
Caucasian is this is the most on-brand 2021 shit ever, bro. Literally, I just got told a word I can't. This is hilarious, my nigga. This nigga cool as shit.
Stupid white people. That's it.
That's the brand name.
I'm not racist at all.
I'm not saying you're racist. I hear that, but just so we're clear, right? And this is just for my legal protection. Come to a white bar saying Caucasian. Caucasian is a slur in 2021. You cannot say that.
It is.
I love stand-up comedy so fucking much. You cannot have this shit anywhere else. You guys have been great.
You don't know what you're getting into.
Yikes. Oh, that sounds like I might get hung, so I'm gonna roll out. You guys have a nice day. Bow, nice meeting y'all. Nice meeting y'all.
Shalom, Kala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kokodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David, reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing their true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the Edomites running from their identity and how that's biblical. But before we get into that notion, let's go and read this. This is Habakkuk 2:16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. So you see, like that Edomite you've seen in this video, let's see if we get a good image of her. Here we go. Here's probably a better picture. So the reason why I wanted to videotape this, here we go. The reason why I wanted to make a lesson out of this video is because you see what's going on right now in this scenario, that this Judite here, because you see this man here on the right is an actual real Jew, right? The real Jew of the Bible are the so-called Negroes of today, okay? Now, this lady on the right here, she is a Caucasian, right? And Caucasian is not a slur. It simply denotes where these people came from, right? Now, when I say these people, I'm talking about the so-called white race, right? Because you see, the white race, as they have dubbed themselves, let's see, starting back in 1681, when they put the term white upon themselves, right? Before that, they were called different names, right? And namely, one of the names that stuck was, well, first of all, if we go over here, in the year 740 AD, a large section of the Caucasian race split off, and they had been known as the Serpent People, the Khazarians, or the Khazars, and then they eventually started calling themselves Ashkenazi. And this took place after the time when they had converted to a self-created man-made religion based off of the heritage of the Jews, the true Jews, the Negroes, right? These would be your modern-day Jewish people, the Israelis, right? Well, before that, when you go all the way back to around 400 to 900 AD, right? Actually, and it goes all actually even to about 1400. The so-called white man had basically been rulers in Rome up until about this time, and what happened is they had fled up north to the Caucasus Mountains, right in the middle between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, right, in the Georgia Mountains, right. This is where the white man had basically stayed for 1,000 years, right? And they were forced up there because the Judites, the so-called Negroes, had taken over Rome, right? And this is where you see a lot of the, you can actually take a look at it here. This is where you see the Byzantine Empire coming to place. The Vatican gets created. Let's see, Constantine converts Rome to Christendom, right? You got Septimius Severus, who came in and kind of started rulership of the Negroes in Rome. Well, these Edomites, like I said again, they are constantly running from their identity, right? So much so that to give them a name, right, especially an old name, is to them considered a slur, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with saying Caucasian, right? Because it simply denotes that these people descend from the people that came out of the Caucasus Mountains. And again, what I'm telling you biblically, that those people who went up into the Caucasus Mountains, they were the Roman Idumeans, right? And the Idumeans go back to the biblical Edomites, right? The nation which is prophesied to be a rulership of the world at the end days before the second coming of the Messiah, right? And that they would have the whole world in subjection through their weaponry and might, and ultimately have the world upside down morally, right? That everything would be backwards, right? That they would call good evil, evil good, and whatnot, right? But if you look at this woman, like, you know, here, this is a prime example, man. Here, she's smoking, blue hair. I'm sure she's a feminist, right? And basically speaking things she knows nothing about, right? Because if she did, then she would know that Caucasian isn't a slur, right? But again, the reason why she doesn't want to be called that is because the spirit inside of her is running from her identity, just as a fugitive would, right? Now, let's go read the biblical reason why these Edomites are always running from their identity and their culture, right? Hence the term why white people have no culture. It's because they continually change who they are. They keep continually reinvent themselves like a con man who skips town after a few years of being caught. You know, people catch on to who they are, then they move again and get a new identity. That's basically the story, the historic story of the so-called Caucasian race. This is Genesis 4:12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth, right? And when you look up the term fugitive, right, what does it say? Let's see. A person who is fleeing as from persecution, intolerable circumstances, a runaway, a fugitive from justice, all right? And that's ultimately what these Edomites are, man. They're fugitives from justice. And what is it that they're running from? Well, from the murders that they've committed all around the world, right? The world is starting to realize that these Edomites are in fact the problems of the world, right? They're the ones who, when you look at the problems of the world, they pretty much all go back to the nation of Edom, right? And why is that? Well, that's because these guys are imbued with the power of Satan, right? Everything they do, no matter if it's with a good intent, it ends up destroying whatever they do, right? They destroy whatever they touch, right? It may not happen immediately, but eventually it's a bad thing, right? And in doing so, not only do they tend to never accept blame, but they always tend to run from their responsibilities, right? And when I say responsibilities, I'm talking about the things they've done, the treaties they've broken, the people that they've maimed and killed, right? I just finished watching that movie Geronimo, An American Hero. Man, it is absolutely atrocious how these Edomites handled the tribe of Gad. one of the other 12 tribes of Israel, man. Right? These people have so much to pay for, right? But again, that's why ultimately in their spirit, they have tried to go away from their past, right? Which, as you can see in this video, she basically didn't want to be called by her historic given name, right? They want to stop being called Caucasians, right? Caucasians, the term Caucasian is being secularly phased out for the most part, right? They're trying to say it's an antiquated term which no longer matches the people that it used to belong to, and now it's more for Armenians and people in the Georgian area over there in Europe, which is a bunch of BS, right? Because again, these Edomites, these Caucasians, these so-called white people, they are the Caucasians, right? This is the name that they put upon themselves because they were the people who came out of the mountains during the time of the Renaissance, right? Who came down into Europe after the Black Plague had hit, right? Or basically before the Black Plague had hit, and they were the laborers, the workers, the peasants, right? If you look at the richest family in the world today, the Rothschilds, their original last names were Bauer, right? Bauer means servant, right? And the thing is that these people, they eventually will end up going back to their original identity, right? Which is the name of the Edomite nation, right? Edom. And why is that? Well, because right now, us Israelites, us prophets who are out here teaching these lessons, telling people, about the Bible, what the Bible actually says, and who is who in the Bible, we're actually being a witness for God against these Edomites, against these so-called Caucasians, to tell the world, say, hey, look, these are the wicked that Job 9:24 talks about. These are the ones that the Lord is going to severely punish, as spoken about in Obadiah 1:18, right? So it doesn't matter how much these devils try to hide from their identity, how many laws they put into place to stop teaching the true historic facts of what they've done, right? It doesn't matter how many books they remove from publication or how many different ways they try to amend history, right? The cat's out of the bag, and it doesn't matter if they try to change their recent history, because their ancient history, which is written in the Bible, is still following them till this day, and that ultimately is what's going to be the thing that's going to condemn them, right? They're already being caught, and what's going on right now is that the Lord is making an investigation into these devils, man. And just like in court, when you start bringing out all the witnesses and all the testimony, right? That's what's going on right now, right? The Lord is bringing forth His star witnesses, bringing all their testimony to testify against these Edomites. Okay, to say, hey, look, these are the wicked. We're exposing them. This is what they did. This is what they're doing. And this is what they're going to do. Right? And the thing is that they're going to be found liars. What the scripture says, that your enemies shall be found liars unto thee, right? That's ultimately what these Edomites have done, man. They've created a false history, a false narrative. They create false maps, false statistics, fake news, fake food, fake, air, fake water, all these things, right? And they feed it to the world in the hopes that they'll be able to overcome the nations by their deception, right? But ultimately, the nations are catching on to them, right? First and foremost, the nation of Israel. We're waking up, and a lot of us are starting to call these devils out by their name, their original name, right? Of Edom, these Edomites. This is Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, right? And what are those secret places? White people, Caucasians, Jewish, Israelis, the French people, the Americans, the British, right? All these different names and identities that these devils have created to hide themselves behind, so that way they're not tied to previous crimes, and especially the crimes of the Bible, right? These devils can no longer hide there, man. Their secret places have been exposed. And he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. right? So you see, these devils, they've lost already, right? These Edomites, they're done for. We just have to wait for these events to play out. And we just have to be here and tell these devils, man, that their time's over. The Lord's coming back and he's going to destroy you Edomites. He's going to destroy everything you've built, and all the agendas that you're trying to push are going to fail, right? And so says the Bible. Well, I just wanted to touch upon that, Akim, that little clip. I thought it was hilarious, right? It was spiritual as hell as she was trying to hide her true identity. But, you know, these, like it says here, man, they're not going to be able to hide themselves, man. So hopefully this video was edifying, Akim. Until the next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Pakwadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles, and elders of the great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.